People. There's the people. Hello, the people. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Hello. Gary D. Kevin, Cut Life. Oh my gosh, it's everybody. Cool, cool, cool. Great to see everyone. Welcome, welcome. So, we got one more minute, so we'll just kind of watch as the Watch as the pages grow. We're on to second page. Hi, Femi. Nice to see you. And Andrea. Shay. Awesome. Yay. Sean Sigler. I don't know if I've seen you on the on the Ask the Sensei before, but your picture makes me want to get to know you. So that's a good picture. Hey, all right. We are going and Laura. Laura from it's tomorrow, right? Oh wait, or it's evening. Okay. Mom's okay. Cynthia. All right. I love these days that we've got this fantastic blend of the dojo regular like the people becoming regulars and then lots of awesome new faces too. So all right, well, let's get this party started. Hello, everyone. I'm Tish Hicks. I am the Master Sensei of the VO Dojo here in Burbank, California. And this is Ask the Sensei, our free monthly Q&A that we do the first Wednesday of every month at this time. I am joined by Jeffrey, who's our dojo team, who's here keeping everything going and flowing. And we're usually joined by Dan Leonard, who's our home studio scent master. He's in Morocco at the moment, or on his way back from Morocco. So if you have tech questions, we'll do our best to field them, and then we'll connect you with Dan when he's back. And we are so excited to have one of our favorite Fight Club usually chosen ones, dojo members Brent Mukai here as a guest sensei today to answer questions. Brent has been rocking it in the anime world and recently made the leap to be here in LA, which is a huge milestone. And so glad you're here. Maybe some of you caught the 20 Dojo 21 questions we did prior to this. It's a really good session. And if you've missed it, you should check it out. But Brent, welcome, welcome. Tell us, well, actually, yeah, tell us about yourself. And for everybody, as Brent is talking, what we're going to do is we'll talk with Brent for a little bit, get a sense of what's up and how he's doing. And then what we'll have you do is put your questions in the chat. So while we're talking, put your questions in the chat, and then Jeffrey will call on you and get your voice in the room, and we'll answer as many questions as we can till 11 o'clock. So, all right, Brent, hello, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Hey, anything specific you want me to reveal about myself or
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe as if someone didn't know who you were, so that we get a sense of who you are and what you're doing and what you're doing now and what your intentions are. Yeah.
Sweet. I'll keep it brief so that we have more time for questions. My name is Brent Mukai. Hello, welcome everybody. Nice to see you all. I recognize some of you and some of you are just your names. So I can't see a face to connect you to, but I'm sure I've crossed paths with a few of you at least. Um Thank you so much first and foremost for coming by. It means the world to me that you're all here and I guess about me, I'm originally from Hawaii. I was born and raised. I moved a week before I turned 18 to Las Vegas to pursue film and theater and all of that fun stuff. I thought at first I was going to be a writer because I was too cowardly to admit that I wanted to be an actor. And then after taking acting classes there, I just fell in love with the art form. I knew that it's what I wanted to do. slowly after that, I started, quickly after that, I should say, I joined an improv group in Las Vegas called Just Serendipity, did years and years, over a decade's worth of shows, performances. Got into our biggest show was called the Party Comedy Show that we got into at the Planet Hollywood, where I was doing at the peak of our performances 4 nights a week, 2 shows a night, which was a ton of fun. I made $0 on that. I don't know if I'm supposed to reveal that, but I made $0 on it. But I loved it so much that I just kept doing it. I ended up teaching improv as well. Love doing that, and eventually was a part of a high school league teaching for about 10 years. I still continue to teach improv and voice acting and stuff like that to this day, and I absolutely love that aspect of it. Got into voice acting shortly after the Planet Hollywood show ended. I started doing stand up comedy for a few years. A stand up friend of mine was like, "Yo, I do voice acting. I got like an audition or whatever." I thought that it was something you had to be famous in first before pursuing it, because all of the big movie stars did all of the Pixar movies and Disney movies, and I had never really looked into it. But my friend kind of hooked me up with another friend who hooked me up with some people in Las Vegas, a place called the Voice Actors Studio. I trained, I studied there. I went full time into voice acting in 2017, and I'm hearing a weird buzz, a hissing noise. I don't know what that is. Oh, there we go. It felt like what did it sound? It sounded like an airlock was about to had a leak in a spaceship airlock. Anyways, I went full time in 2017 doing the corporate side of voice acting, which was really at the time the only thing you could do if you weren't in one of the major areas, right? The Dallases, the New Yorks, the LAs, and was doing corporate, like the commercials, the e-learning, the whatever I could get my hands on at the time, narration, blah blah blah, right? Around 2019, I started realizing that my true passion in the voice acting world, well, I knew it already, but I decided to finally pursue, was the character side. So I started taking trips out to LA very often, maybe about 2, 3 times a month at the end of 2019. My first job in LA was at Bang Zoom, and I did it on March 15th, 2020. So then everything shut down right after that. That was fun to do that one gig. But I saw the shutdown as a large opportunity to not have to pay for my travel. A bunch of money that I had saved up over the years of doing the voice acting stuff, I was using to pay for my travel, lodging, as well as, taking a class just to get out here. And then I realized once 2020 hit that I didn't need to travel anymore. So I poured all of my funds into taking classes. That's where I'm sure I've seen many of you in a class or two, but the VO Dojo definitely included in that, because it's just, in my opinion, really, really, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on the VO Dojo podcast or whatever this is. This Ask the Sensei, I truly believe it offers some of the best opportunities with casting directors of any school available, just because of the format of it. I think it's brilliant, Tish, the way that you've sort of formatted it. So I do want to say that, and never looked back. Got into the LA marketplace um, in 2020. Got my agent, started auditioning, booking jobs, getting the relationships. At that point, I was very, very capable and very, very good. So, and I had my own home studio from the time before. Since 2017, I knew how to work all of the equipment, and everything just kind of clicked. So now I'm here in LA, moved here 2 months ago, living the dream. I love every second of it, and I hope that wasn't too long.
And what kind of things might people know your voice from? Because you've been doing some pretty cool stuff.
You might know me from Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I played Gary in that game. You might know me from Lost Judgment. I played Daimu in that game. In the anime world, I play Dorsha in Ranking of Kings. I play Nito in Pokemon. I play President Gohan in Yu-Gi-Oh! I had the great honor of taking over the roles of Scratchman Apu in One Piece and Daz in Attack on Titan, taking over the role from Brad Venable, who passed away sadly last year. And yeah, I mean those are some of the major roles. I won't bore you all with the rest if you're
Uh,
super interested.
that's
Yeah.
that's awesome. I think that's the inspiring thing. So, just show of hands, and oh my gosh, it's so cool to see everybody. Show of hands, who was on this call because they love anime. And you don't have to love anime. You could be intrigued by anime. Um, and as we open up to questions, I'm always so amazed at how powerful the reach of anime is. So as we open up to questions, we can answer any questions. We don't just need to answer anime questions. As Brent said, the journey to getting to your dream is made up of doing all the things that you need to do to get things done. And also that even reaching the dream of anime and doing all the awesome things, anime has a certain amount of income that it generates, right, Brent? So it's not like the woohoo money, it's the awesome changing people's lives and keeping everyone sane art that we're doing. So opened up to all the questions and bless it all, correct. Um, cool, cool, cool. Well, so many people. Let's get some questions answered. Let's get some voices in the room. So good to see everyone.
Absolutely. We're already getting some questions flowing in. So, first up, we have Connor Maintz. Connor Maintz, if you want to unmute yourself and pose your question, go right ahead.
What up, Connor?
Hi, how's it going? Yeah, so getting right to it. I've just been kind of curious on what are some of the marketing tips that you've used that kind of helped you get through the door in the anime dubbing world.
Yeah,
That's
sure thing. I don't think that there's a better opportunity to get on a roster than to get in front of the people who are in charge of them. Taking a class with the people and showing them what a badass you are, I mean, that has been my solid technique for getting onto a lot of rosters and meeting a lot of people quickly. Because sure, there is merit to the LinkedIns, there's merit to the cold emails, there's merit to Twitter connections and just being top of mind. Sure, yes, 10,000%. If you don't have the means to take classes, I'd highly suggest doing that when you're ready. But for me, what I found the most and quickest success, the quickest path to my success was in the classes and blowing people's faces away with
Mhm.
what I
Yeah,
was
and
able to.
I've been in many a fight club where Brent just was like, we're all like, "Whoa." It's really good. Yeah, and get to know the people who are doing the things, right? One of the things that we talk about at the dojo that's sort of a foundational principle, um, is the idea that there is no they, there's only we. And what Brett was just talking about is going to meet the people because then you become we, right? We're in a class together. We're sharing what I can do that can be a solution for you. Well, then we're working together. And then so how do you think of it as getting to know people so that it's we and not what are they looking for is a really powerful point of view.
Yeah, and if this is at all helpful, like what I would highly suggest is being familiar, especially in the world of anime, being familiar with exactly how the process works, because the last thing you want to do is get on a roster,
Mm.
successfully do all this marketing and everything, and then show up on the day itself and not understand the process of how anime actually gets laid out. And excuse me, Connor, because you're nodding as if you know all this already. But for anybody who's listening and is not familiar with the process and the way that anime gets recorded, educate yourself and get good at it deeply before attempting the rosters, in my humble opinion, because it's always better to make the best first impression and have people go, who the hell is this guy? As opposed to being like, oh, this person must be new, I guess. Okay, that's understandable. But then they lock you away in the back of their head is like, oh, that person's this, they're still pretty green or whatever. The quicker path is getting real good. Sorry, what's up, Connor?
No, I was just gonna say no. The nod. I'm totally new with this. So the nodding was just understanding, acknowledging the information that you were laying down on me. So thank you. I love it. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Yeah, that question comes with an asterisk, and my answer.
Yeah, right.
Asterisk is
Thank
always
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. What question's next, Jeffrey?
Great one to kick us off. Next one is from Kevin Cutliff. Kevin, go ahead and come
What's
on
up,
in.
Kevin? Hey.
Hey, yeah, like I
Yu-Gi-Oh
said,
fam?
we're colleagues on Yu-Gi-Oh, so I had to be here.
Oh yeah.
So my question is, so I'm in Atlanta. That's not one of the big cities, and I knew you were in Las Vegas for a long time. You've moved now, but Las Vegas is pretty close to LA in the transportation way. You said you were paying for transportation fees, so like, do you find that moving to LA increased your chances, or were you close enough where you're kind of getting the same amount of auditions? Or do you think actually being in the big city helped you?
I don't think I have a fair enough answer for you because it's still so new, and I don't know yet the actual ROI, return on investment here for being here, as opposed to like if we're talking strict numbers. But what I can say is this: there have been cast rap parties, and like backyard parties, and like certain gigs that just only want me here, that now it's not an airplane ride or a long drive that takes me out for most of a day, so that I have to go home tired when I do my auditions or rent out a studio space to do auditions. And there's all these ancillary benefits that I think long term, while I can't justify it yet with numbers and hard statistics, um, it I think that just the benefit of shaking an engineer's hand and then goofing off 15 minutes afterwards and talking about your day and developing a relationship is so much better than just being another Skype square, you know? So
Nothing against our beautiful Skype squares.
yeah, as beautiful as your Skype square is, I just I can't definitively say yes or no, but I can tell you that every part of my being inside of my heart says yes, this was a smart move for me at the place that I'm at right now, because I laid all of the groundwork. I had an agent before coming here. I had established a career and relationships um um before coming here. So yes, asterisk.
And yeah,
I hope
cool.
that's a fair answer, Kevin.
No, it totally is. I think it's on a lot of talents' minds with the housing prices the way they are. So it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to pay
Definitely.
those prices. Sorry, what was that, Tish?
It's definitely a question. Do you move to LA to get the opportunities, or do you build the opportunities and bring them to LA? Those are interesting things. And frankly, the whole world has shifted in terms of what and how the voiceover world works in the last few years. There was definitely 4 years ago, was like, yeah, that's the thing. When I started many, many years ago, that was totally the thing. That was the thing. I came up in Chicago, and the thing was move to a major market, get good enough to get major representation. That was where the access to all of the things were. That was the game. And now the game is so different, in so many different ways. So I think there's something about like what is going to make your life best? What is going to make you happiest? What is the life that you want to live? And do that first, and then make choices. Don't move to LA because that's the thing you're supposed to do, or like that's the thing that's gonna, yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Make it strategic. Exactly what
yeah.
Tish said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. Good questions. What else? And remember, open to all questions, not just anime.
All right. Next one we have is from Ben Sheedy, and it's about a tech setup
Oh,
sort of
cool.
question.
We'll do our best. What's going on, Ben?
Hi there, Brent. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Ben.
So I record on a Slate Digital ML1 modeling microphone. It comes with their library of digital emulations for analog outboard equipment, as well as their virtual mic rack, which is meant to emulate a number of classic vintage tube condenser mics. So it's a really cool thing. However, whenever I've gotten auditions from my reps for video games and sometimes anime or animation, um, they'll request that you describe your setup either at the end of your slate or you add a PDF that lists the equipment that you use. And it in a parenthetical there will often be Neumann U87 or TLM 103 or Sennheiser MK416 preferred. So I'm wondering, is this the sort of thing where they'll take a look at that and that alone is like, oh, it's not one of those three things, then in your experience, how important would you say having the mic is when we're talking about a mic that costs like $3,600?
I can't speak on behalf of any casting director, and I don't think that any casting director would speak on behalf of all casting directors. If people are saying that, I think that the bigger point is the history behind why they're saying it, which is that a ton of people during pandemic claimed that they had a home studio. It wasn't up to par. It wasn't good. They didn't understand the technology, but everybody was scrambling because they understood that their job was now on the line. And because of that, a lot of studios got burned very, very early, right? Um, and I think that, I mean, I heard tons of horror stories going through because people would be like, "Oh my God, you got a great studio setup. I can hear it. It sounds great. I was just on a call the other day. Somebody shit the bed and they just were like, oh, I looked bad in front of the clients and all of that stuff." All this to say that I think that more so what people are interested in is a good sounding quality. And if they can hear that I think the proof is in the pudding. I think that if your setup sounds good, which even on this Zoom call, it sounds freaking amazing,
Oh,
right?
thank you.
It sounds like you know what you're doing. It sounds like you've done the research. Um, I wouldn't necessarily lie, but I don't think that there's anything that I would hear or tag in your space as being that. And it might be beneficial to uh uh further kind of clarify that your microphone setup has the capability to do what you just explained, because if they're actually interested in listening to it, then that is it. But at the end of the day, the content is king over any tech anything
Mhm.
as well. So I wouldn't go out and rush out to buy a Neumann and a Sennheiser 416
Mhm.
right now,
Mhm.
just because it feels like you already have the much more important thing, which is the setup and everything kind of handled. That's my take on it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's always a battle to distill that explanation into a brief version, as you can see, because I had to rattle on for quite a while. Really appreciate it, Brent. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I think it all goes back to just be freaking good.
Yeah.
Sound good enough. Sound just needs to be good enough. If you're freaking good, people will want to work with you, right? If you're freaking good and your sound is bad, that's a problem. However, if you're the most interesting thing, as Brent said, is just be awesome at what you do and really understand what, bring that, and that's what people will respond to. If you blow someone's you knock someone's socks off and they go, oh, not a Neumann, that's not going to happen if you sound okay, right? So yeah, good. Cool, awesome, great. And it's in case anybody's head exploded from Ben being able to be like da 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 about his tech stuff. that's a level of expertise that you can choose to explore and be able to talk about things. If that exploded your brain, you can just go, sound good. Look up what those mics are and why they are, but you don't have to be as awesome as Ben just rattled off. So cool. Who's next?
Next up, we have Frankie Shaker. Frankie, go ahead and come on in.
Sounds good. On my phone, so the mic quality probably isn't going to sound that great right now.
Sounds great to us.
But
Ask a really, really good question.
my question was, what would be the better method to approach studios? I've already sent demos to all the said like anime studios. I've had a couple of auditions, but I've spent about 15 years honing my craft, and I don't feel like, based on how long I've been practicing, it garnered the results I wanted to do. Also, I have a broadcasting degree, so like what Ben was saying, when I actually record, I have everything set up properly. Soundproofing is something I would actually, just to throw my own 2 cents, matters more than your actual mic choice.
10,000%. Yeah. I'm so sorry. One more time. Clarify for me a little bit more. What's the question exactly?
What's the better way to get in front of people even outside of the classes? Because I've already sent demos and the like to the studios, have had a couple of auditions, but have practiced this for about 15 years and don't feel like I've gotten the results I've wanted to end up with.
So you're saying outside of the class, you've already taken all the classes, gotten in front of the people, done all of the stuff, and you've gotten some of the auditions. They've actually sent some auditions your way. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
And you're talking about anime specifically.
More in general, but yeah, for the anime studios, I've sent it to basically everyone you could think of.
And are you getting on the rosters?
I have for about one or two, but not as many as I was hoping.
Okay. So here's an important thing to keep in mind, which is that right now, it's tough just in general. The whole Crunchyroll Funimation merger happened. There have been certain things that I won't get into unless somebody asks specifically, I guess. But like it's a little tougher because a lot of the Crunchyroll stuff is being done in Texas right now. Are you in Texas?
Ohio, that's why I brought it up, because technically where I am, there is no base for any of that in person.
Gotcha.
It's all remote for me.
Yeah. So here's what I would say. I would say that my strategy would be to still keep knocking on the doors of the places that I'm not in, but try your best to stay top of mind and stay on the radar of people that are within, that are already sending you stuff.
So mainly the casting directors. All right.
Keep that. Are you doing the Twitter thing? Are you like commenting on photos? Or like things like that? Like, and not inauthentically, not like saying great photo on every photo, but it's just one of those things where it's tough because at the end of the day, we're all people. It becomes a relationship game, and I think that I'll draw if I see somebody on Twitter. That's why it's one of my favorite ways to connect with people, because it's so just like casual, and like I can follow somebody, see what they tweet, and then be like, oh hey, funny little joke or whatever, kind of start building relationships so that when they see your name, they know that name is familiar to them, and you probably have a better chance. I mean, I wish I had better advice for you, right? But like at the end of the day, like it's just there's not many anime specific studios that are like doing it. You could probably count all the ones in America on two hands for the most part that primarily deal with the anime stuff. So, I mean, being on two is pretty dope. I would go harder on that. I would also still keep knocking on the doors, be aware of all the different classes and all the different places, try and see any way that you can get an in, because some of the places are director based casting, and some of the places are like 1 or 2 casting directors who, you know, do classes every once in a while, and the directors there are just contracted directors. So doing anything in your power to learn more and make relationships, right? I hate the term networking. I like the term relationship building. See what you can do on
Yeah,
the
that's
relationship building side, because at the end of the day, it's a human game. Um, those would be my suggestions.
Huh.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, good. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. What are the questions?
All right. We have Nick Staub. Hello, coming to the room.
Thank you. Hi, Brent.
What's up, Nick?
What have I remember you fondly from one of the fight clubs, and the other night participating in one, I was getting direction like needed to be bigger for a children's cartoon or animation. So I was wondering, actually my acting was too serious. And so I needed to be less scary for a children's cartoon. So that was an interesting point. But it made me think too. There was also direction about the too ADH kind of a approach to the script. And it made me think, is there a difference? Because I was thinking somewhere along what we were learning, I think it was like that. Could it have been an animation, or was that video games where you approach it more separately each moment? Have you experienced a noticeable difference that you could explain?
Between animation and video games, do you mean?
Yeah, or maybe I'm talking about different types of animation itself.
So, Nick, what I'll say to you is this: it sounds like you're trying to compartmentalize it too much. And the bigger point is this: sure, there are differences in general between video games and animations, and sure, there are differences between scripts. But at the end of the day, each thing has its own vibe going on, because for every Call of Duty Modern Warfare, very seriously acted, very serious stakes, very real life, you know, grounded performances, there's a Crash Bandicoot where, you know, we have an evil scientist who sounds like a cartoony evil scientist. So
Right.
I would say think of it less as an animation script. I know to do this and this. I would look at it more in terms of, okay, what kind of show is this? What is this?
Right.
What is this thing? Oh, this is just like Dora the Explorer, or this is just like Young Justice, or this is just like blah 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 blah. Right? Once you realize and understand the universe and the world and the genre, I guess, that you're working in, then it becomes much easier to break down those decisions. It sounds like what happened was there was a disconnect between what your idea of this world was, and once you understood that the world was the world of, you know, a kid show, you know, a small Disney Junior, Nick Junior type show, that you were like, oh, I wasn't thinking of it in the correct way. And the best way to counter that, Nick, is to have an understanding and a familiarity with the shows that are trending right now, and being able to then say, oh, this is like a Doc McStuffins, where it's children's show, but it's not going to be nearly as broad as Dora the Explorer. And if you don't know what I mean when I say that, that is a part of what
Right.
the confusion was, is that I tell people all the time, familiarize yourself with every single genre within this, and every subgenre within the genres, so that you can give yourself the best possibility of understanding and knowing. Is that more or less, am I hitting it on the head of what we're talking about?
Absolutely. Yeah, all under the umbrella of all your experience with improv, to be nimble and at the same time to be able to take direction with that knowledge that you're talking about that I should build upon. Yeah.
Right, because I say to people, if you don't know, if you've never listened to jazz music, and I ask you to play some jazz, I don't care how good of a trumpet player you are, it's going to be real hard for me to explain what jazz sounds like, as opposed to you taking 8 hours of your day listening to jazz and being like, oh, that's what jazz kind of is, and then doing that. Take some time out of your day and go watch some cartoons and play some video games. I promise you, it's the best homework anyone can ever give you.
Yeah, yeah. The dojo, we talk about figuring out what the tone of the tune is. Like, what is the tone of the tune? And you need to build your skills to be able to. So it's if you can watch and experience it, that's one thing, and that's within all of the realms, right? If you just say anime, holy buckets, just even the things that Brent said he's worked on, like there's such a range of what is anime. I've done anime that's set in a Brazilian favela with, transsexuals and people just out of prison and drug lords and stuff like that. That's anime. And then there's Pokemon, less of that. But yeah, so you gotta and then there's a skill set of being able to see it on the page and intuit what that is, right? So those are the skill sets and those are the practice. You have to understand what it is to, that's like, and you should do voiceover. We give you that comprehensive overview. Here's what it looks like. Here's what it can look like. Here's how you can be thinking about. So yeah, yeah. It's good. It's good. And if you want to do something, remember when you were a little kid? I don't know, maybe it was just me, but bet you not. But when I was a little kid, I grew up in the city of Chicago, and I was obsessed with horses, and everything was horses, 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 horses. I knew everything about horses. So, if this is something that you are interested in, anime or animation, then activate that, like, ooh, I want to know everything about it. I love that. I love that. I love that. I know all the players in that. You don't have to get obsessed with it, but if you know what the game is, you can play it, right? And then if you know what the players are. So cool, 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 cool. What other questions?
Next up, we have Terry Briscoe. Welcome back, Terry Briscoe.
Terry?
That's the Sensei regular, Terry Briscoe.
Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, Tish. And good to meet you, Brent.
Good to meet you, Terry.
You pretty much just answered my question because his question was very similar to mine. I was looking for some advice to differentiate between the two different styles of animation and being anime and American animation for when I do audition for them. Because it seems to be a very distinct different style that they're
Yes,
looking for.
10 million%. And here's where the differences are. It's in the worlds and the genres of anime that are very separate and very distinctive. It's also within the character archetypes of anime, because so many of the character archetypes, and I'm stealing this straight from Crispin Freeman, who graciously taught me this very early on in my career, but the character archetypes are going to be wildly different because of where these things are based out of. So Western style animation, as well as Western, sensibility and just the zeitgeist of the Western sort of creativity style is wildly different from what's come out of Japan for very specific reasons. Tsundere, if I say that word, and you're not quite sure what that means. It's a huge trope in Japan that if a male or a female character is a tsundere and you don't know what that is, you're not familiar with the way that this kind of character archetype would react, kind of is in general, right? It's based off of a rich culture of that. So getting engrossed within the culture, it's the same thing, right? Getting engrossed and seeing enough anime and enough, animation and being like, oh, I'm seeing this kind of a style. Oh, I'm seeing this kind of a character. Oh, I've seen that character before. You start making connections, and then you're more readily able to do and deliver your version of whatever that thing is. That's what it breaks down to. On top of anime as a whole is over the years has been a lot cleaner. It's just been a lot more precise and a cleaner and a more technical sound. So, characters have like a really it's just like they sound very perfect, and there's all of this stuff, right? Like there's a cleaner sound to it. that is kind of slowly meeting the middle of the conversational thing that's kind of enveloped and taken over. So if you realize now, it's a lot less broad than, you know, we're talking Dragon Ball Z, and old man could just sound like this, right? Like it's not quite that anymore, but it's not quite super grounded, serious stuff. It's somewhere in the middle ground. And I would say watch a bunch of the dubs, familiarize yourself with all of that stuff. And pardon me if you already are familiar with both sides of that coin, but those are the things, the universes, the characters, and then just in general, sort of the vibe of what the current day is sort of going after are the three things that you're going to want to really weigh out to find those differences. And that's the ticket and the key to finding exactly and pinpointing exactly what the differences are.
Yeah, there's so many layers that just exploded in my mind about that. So first of all, recognizing that I think one of the reasons that anime is so beloved to people of all ages is because it goes down to that universal archetypal storytelling that it kind of doesn't matter what culture you're in, you tap into that, and that's what we respond, right? I've had a great experience of just, you know, my 15-year-old and I watch My Hero Academia together, and suddenly it's not mom and teen, it's us, you know, us together because isn't there so many times, whether you're an adult or you're 15 or you're 7, that you just are having a day where you just want to go blah, blah, right? That it takes us there to those levels of humanity. Yeah, there's other things too, but let's get to your questions as well. Getting to the heart of it, like that's the heart of it, and then you go to the details, right? Yeah. Cool. What are the questions? How are we doing on time?
We're chewing right through, and we are also
Okay.
chewing through questions. Next up is Matthew Betley. Matthew Betley.
What's up, Matthew?
Hey there.
Hey.
So first of all, I guess this is the first dojo that I've done. And also, Brent, great to see you for real this time.
Hey. Yeah.
We
What
took
up?
Chris Rager's class like 2.5 years ago.
Oh, dude, yeah. So you know, yeah. Amazing. Love Chris. I couldn't remember where I knew you from, but I knew you.
Oh, perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah, no. Honestly, my question was going to be one about like the move from Vegas to LA.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing. I actually just moved from Massachusetts to Michigan. I'm nowhere near established enough to go to like one of the main areas yet.
Uh-huh.
But during the pandemic, like I actually had a friend who moved out from LA to Las Vegas.
Okay.
So I guess my question was gonna be like what was really like the final motivator that got you to actually make the move? Like, you know, what was the last duck in the row? The one that told you, okay, I gotta go do that now.
In the first 6 months of 2022, I basically took roughly around 15 to 20-ish trips to Los Angeles for jobs that I had to go into studio for.
Gotcha.
On top of, I always have wanted to be here and move here. The improv stuff for me is still very much a play in my life and something that I love to do. So it's a much larger scene out here too. So I'm able to embrace that with a larger radius. But yeah, it was a combination of things that just felt like it was right. I understand why people are moving out of California. I happen to really enjoy it here. I like a lot of the stuff, and the stuff that are the minuses I'm willing to deal with, and I think I'm okay with. So ask me that again in 10 years and maybe I'll be like, I'm moving to Michigan, dude, you know.
Yeah, no, I just moved here like 2 weeks ago. I haven't even set up my equipment yet.
Well, congrats on the move.
Thank you.
Was there anything else that you were
I was thinking along the lines of like what Connor had said earlier, because I'm gonna be completely real. I just after that workshop, I thought I heard him say something about like possibly trying to get us on Okratron's roster or whatnot, or contact them, and I never did that. I guess I felt like that was too forward. Like, what's really the etiquette for that kind of like contact after classes, like that part of things?
The etiquette
what
is
would
contact them. You paid them.
Yeah,
Paid them for their time.
Okay, fair. Okay, fair.
Paid them.
Look,
Paid them money.
Okay, yeah,
Everything else
but
should be all right if you paid somebody money. And if they say that if they say, hey, this is your demo, you need to work on this and this and this, then work on your demo, and then send another one once you have, once you've worked at it and really have like a good demo or whatever pathway there is. You can't be afraid of running into the potential blockade. You need to run into any situation understanding that there are two things that are going to happen. Either A, there won't be a blockade there and you're going to get exactly what you want because you are at the point where you're good for it, or B, you're going to run into a blockade and that's what everybody's afraid of. But here's the thing, don't be afraid of that. Once you understand what the blockade is specifically, then you understand how to overcome that. So rather than being afraid of a potential blockade or anything that could, sort of get in your way, don't be afraid to ask the question, because at the very least, even if you fail, you have the answer for how to succeed next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talk about it at the dojo. Collect no's. Collect no's. But when you get a yes, accept it. There's so many things. There's so many things. Like at Fight Club, we which is our working pro workout that brings together top-notch talent with the decision makers who hire us. And at the end of every Fight Club, whether you're a spectator or a player, you have been in the room with us. We have talked. We have met. You have experienced that decision maker's approach, and you've seen how they work and how they work with people, and you get their email. They say, yes, contact me. So a couple variations of this: always say yes until it's time to say no. At Fight Clubs, we also talk about being the chosen one, not the winner, because there's going to be so many times that you're not the chosen one, but you're in the mix, right? So that's a matter of just going like, I'm in the mix. I'm in the mix. That's a no. That's a no. And then collect no's. Collect 100 no's. Collect 1,000 no's. Now, Frankie, if you're on 15 years and you're still getting a bunch of no's, then what Brent's saying is like, cool. What else can you adjust? Not what else can you adjust? What else can you adjust? What else can you adjust? And then see how the yeses come. But don't be the one who tells yourself no. Like, oh no,
Yes.
I'm not going to do that. Like, okay, cool.
Kind of feel
Nobody
like-
cares if you do this or not. Super, nobody cares if you do this or not. Yeah.
I kind of feel like I just kind of demonstrated the point just by asking it.
Yes, 100%. And Matthew, the more important point that I would like you to take home, right, is this. I would ask myself why it was that you didn't send that email. Be as honest with yourself as possible, and then find something within yourself, right? Because I think self-awareness plays a huge part of this game. Figure out why it was you didn't send it, for real, why it was. Get to the bottom of it. For me, it's mostly just fear, and I'm a coward sometimes.
Yep.
But whatever that is, now you understand how to work on that for next time, so that you can come out of this a stronger butterfly. So
Oh, absolutely. Like once I got everything set up and I start like taking coaching again, it's new demos for 2023 and getting on all the rosters I can from there.
And that's okay. But I think what Brent's saying is it doesn't matter if you have the most supersonic JPL setup, like the most, it doesn't matter when the inside game is the first thing. That's the heart of everything you do at the dojo. It's the inside game, and then you build from there, right?
one last asterisk here, because I didn't get into it, Matthew, but if you didn't have a good setup, or you didn't feel, if you were like, I don't think I'm ready to audition and I want to make a better first impression, or like, oh, if it was motivated out of a strategic play because of your own self-awareness, already understanding you weren't in a position where you should be doing and sending out that email, then I actually applaud you for that, because sometimes the best thing you can do is know that you're not ready to take the plunge yet. So
I'll call it a fear that I might not have been ready.
Well, and
Or being unsure.
there's the thing. And then also, if you know you're not ready, but you know you want to work with that person, then just send something of just like gratitude. I've been sharing this story, a little story. So at the dojo, the first rule of the dojo is know what you want, ask for it. People will give it to you if you allow. My 20-year-old son has been embodying this. He has a vision and skills in the event lighting. So he had a vision. I would like to work in the esports realm. I would like to do event lighting for that esports. That would be super cool. He went as a spectator. He knew he had the goods. And he introduced himself to the tech director and just said, and got his email, and then said, thank you. That was awesome. If there's ever a chance that I can shadow, I would love that. This is what I want to do. This, thank you. Thank you. 2 weeks later, he spent the day on the set, learned how the whole thing worked, met everybody, and sent another email saying, thank you. It was awesome to meet everybody. I really, really would like to do this. If there's ever any opportunity to work with you, I'm here. And he's been onboarded at Riot Games, and he's in the mode, he's waiting for the job to start, but that's happening, right? So gratitude and thank you notes. I think my entire early career was just built on thank you notes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm in this. I'll give you an update. Is it okay if I give you I'll give you an update when I'm ready. Thank you. Right?
And thank you for your time.
Yeah, exactly. And that keeps us all in the same thing, right? Yeah, good. Awesome. Whew. Internal training. Yes. There we go. What other questions?
I love the passion behind those answers. And I don't know if you saw the chat popping off, but there's so many words of encouragement, and that really resonated with a lot of people. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that.
And it's also not that you don't have fear. You get through it.
Right.
Stuff that we all have, right?
You learn to work with it or through it.
Yeah.
All right. Next we have Fabian Cook Jr. Come on in.
Hey. Oh, we can't hear you though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, really been enjoying the conversation so far. What I wanted to ask you was, what is your process for developing new character voices when you got
Sorry, I missed the last part. When developing new character voices in what?
when you get work, when you get booked?
Let me ask you this. Are you asking me how do I figure out what kinds of character like how do I work on whatever new specific character I'm working on? Or
I'm sorry, I'll phrase that.
No. I not wrong at all. Just I wanted clarity. So here's the best place to start. It's literally what I was talking about earlier. I can't remember. Please excuse me. I can't remember who I gave the advice to. But watch the content of whatever it is you're trying to get into. Watch it voraciously and start recognizing the archetypes of whatever it is. This has to be some of the best advice I got. It's from Mick Wingert, and I think that it's incredible to be able to have the bandwidth to sort of just create a character voice and all that stuff. I think that that's fun. But if you're interested in booking work, then you have to work at it from an idealism of what is already getting booked right now. What are people looking for? What are people hiring? And then reverse engineering your character voices around what's already working and getting people booked. because sure, you can develop your own character off of whatever it is, but you know, you having your version of I mean, let's go anime, right? You having your version of moody edgelord teenager Sasuke type, right? And then also having your version of, you know, quirky protagonist, you know, loudmouthed, you know, high energy protagonist. And then there's also you know, more grounded, more serious protagonist that plays more of the yeah, you know, or the Ichigos even, you know. There's going to be all of the, what does your mentor character look like? What is your older man badass character going to look like, right? Like, start imitating what you see, and then slowly after time, what you're going to realize is that your imitation cannot match exactly what it is, but when you get to a point when it's real, and it sounds like your interpretation of it as opposed to you just trying to be somebody else. Once all that falls off, what and the dust settles, what you're left with is a new character in your roster that you can easily kind of go through. And then when you get to the session or whatever, if you're doing incidentals and bits, and they're like, "All right, this is the beefy, strong old man character," you're like, "Oh, I already got that. I already know how to do that."
Yeah.
And okay, and now we got the teenager here. Boom, you know, what kind of teenager you watch. And that's the
Oh,
way that you sort of create that roster, in my opinion. Sorry, Tish, go ahead.
That's really interesting. It just made me think, like, pick an anime that you love, cast yourself in all the roles, find your version of it to get to the heart of that. Just this morning, I did a seriously ailing mother. That was the main part, and then a sassy 17-year-old, a mean boy, and there's one other thing that was also in this audition. So yeah, you need to be prepared with all of those things. But I love that. I love my brain always goes like, ooh, riff, yeah. And that, like, so make it a game. There's no like, and then you do this, and when you do this for 3 days, then you get an anime part. It's just playing, guys. It's just playing. And I love that word voracious. Brett, you just said be voracious, like voraciously, approach this voraciously, jump in, and then make up your own games, right? Make up your own games. Don't wait for someone to tell you how to do it. Make up your own games. If it's, you know, how would you get to that? What how would you guide yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're just playing and building your muscles. You don't have to wait for a script to be in front of you. Go play. Make your own anime, right? Find some art students or become, I don't know. Yeah. Anthony, you're an animator and a voice actor. Anthony Morales, animator, voice actor. Yeah, what can you do on your own? It's good. Cool. Do we have time for one? Well, actually, you know what? We should probably wrap. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let's do a little tiny wrap up because we're gonna officially stop at the top of the hour because this is a 1 hour question and answer. So if we've agreed to be here till 11. So we'll do a little wrap up here. And then Brent, do you have a couple of minutes to do a little bit more like
Yeah, anybody who's asked a question, I can answer. I'm fine.
yeah, okay. Well, I think there might be a lot of questions, but we'll do our best. We'll do a little after. So in wrapping up, first of all, thank you all for being here. This Ask the Sensei happens the first Wednesday of every month at 10 Pacific time. If you are anywhere on your journey, the dojo is here to guide you from I don't know to working pro. Let's talk, see where you're at, where you want to be, and how we can help you to get there. You should do voiceover. We're enrolling for January, that comprehensive overview. Mystery to Mastery is full training. You want to talk tropes, right? Full training. It's the dojo. In belt levels, wherever you are in your progress. And we have our working pro division, nth degree, fight club. Jeffrey, you'll put, like, if you're interested, sign up for a voiceover once over. We will talk to you and see how we can be a part of getting you where you want to be. And Brent, how do people keep in touch with you? And then he said, yes, you can keep in touch with him.
Feel free to keep in touch with me. I ain't giving nobody jobs, so I'm not a casting director or director yet. But my name is Brent Mukai, Brent Mukai. Follow me across all social medias at Brent Mukai on everything. YouTube, Twitter, are probably the two I'm about to be tackling the hardest. If you want to see some silly dubs, go to TikTok. Yeah.
Yeah, so thanks everyone, and I think that it's almost time. So, yeah, so if you have to roll, thank you for being here. There is a replay of this, so you can listen again and stay in touch. Keep on asking questions. Keep on asking good questions. That's how you get answers. Trust yourself too, and keep on asking good questions and getting to know the people who are doing the things, because we are all the people that are doing the things. So this is great. Awesome. So that brings us to the conclusion of the official as the sensei portion of today. Let's see. I want to toss in one question of mine that I've always been intrigued with, because I haven't quite gotten to a place in my I've got an action figure, but I haven't quite gotten to the place where I'm going to cons. Like, I haven't had a character that I'm like at a con. But it seems to me that that is an interesting part of anime and the business strategy of of your anime business. Have you had experience with that, Brent? And how would you approach that, or how do you see it as fitting into one's anime career?
Not quite yet. I'm not there, so I can't
Mhm.
answer intelligently.
Mhm.
What I will say is I know that it's a large part, but it's also very much so a game of I mean, everybody's scratching for the lottery ticket at the end of the day, because it's like, sure, you booked the main role of an anime no one's watching, or you booked the big anime that everybody's watching, but you're playing a character nobody remembers,
Mhm.
or you were a small character. I had a role in the My Hero Academia movie, where I played a guy that was integral to the plot, but wasn't a hero, wasn't a thing. I'm not going to go touring and selling multiple prints of that character. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that part of it becomes a bit of a popularity contest. And then the question is, how long is that relevant? How long does that go for? How long does the show kind of stay top of mind? So it's not something that I'm, banking on, like, oh, it's gonna happen for me, because how many hit shows are there that have that kind of lasting power and all that stuff? My head's in the dirt, and I'm working hard to open up opportunities for myself, because I'm playing the long game, as opposed to, let me, try this out for a few years, and if I don't hit something big, then I'll just quit. And the long game is the way that I've always seen it. So that is my I don't know. It's not the question you asked, but that's the answer I
No,
have.
it's the answer you have to the question I asked. You haven't experienced that, and just putting it out there that is a part of the game. And I love your answer. It's the sustained. It's the long journey. The more that you prepare in that way, everybody, wherever you are, if this is the first time you've been like, hey, voiceover, what is it? Or if you've been on the trail for 15 years, it is the long journey. What you're building now is the foundation for the long journey. And yeah, it's good. Awesome. Well, let's see if we have a couple more questions.
Yeah, voice acting after dark. What's going on?
I love it. Next up, we had Krista Kangas. If you're still with us.
Is Krista here? Oh,
Yep,
we can't hear
I
you.
see you.
We see you.
Hi.
Say your
Hi,
name.
Sorry about
Krista.
that.
All good.
I normally my voice is better, but got a fun little surgery there. So, my main question for you, Brent, was really how I can get my foot in the door. I did something with Bang Zoom as well, like a weekend training thing. Just done webinars, have reels, website. I've reached out to agencies, but I just can't seem to get my foot in that door and have people actually know who I am and get on those rosters. So just, yeah, any advice for someone who's, gone through the training and met people, but still trying to get that success in the industry or, at least auditions.
After your class at Bang Zoom, did you email the casting director?
Yeah, so it was the owner of Bang Zoom.
Uh-huh.
So Tony. Yeah, and I've reached out to him before a few times after that as well, but I never got anything back.
So how do I say this? So it's interesting because the thing is most agencies are not tackling anime.
Mhm.
So that's almost a separate question. Is the agencies part of the question?
Yeah.
In terms of anime, I think that the best thing you can do is take a class with Mami Okada. She does all the casting.
Mami Okada.
Mami Okada. She
You
does
know how to spell that?
Mami Okada. I believe she's been through the dojo, hasn't she, Tish?
Yep, she has been a
Okay.
Fight Club
Well, that's
director.
the thing is with the dojo, I also trying to set up something like a evaluation as well to kind of figure out what I should do and next steps and things like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if you're feeling ready, like knowing the people who are who are actually hiring the people for the jobs is the biggest thing, right? So like look up the studios that are dubbing, look up who's in charge of those, whether it's IMDb Pro or Anime News Network or whatever it is. Start looking up some of the directors. And I mean, especially if you take a class with them, reach out and ask questions and understand that like sometimes people won't get back to you, but I send an email out right after the class is over. If I have questions, then I'll shoot it right when I'm top of mind still. That I've seen typically tends to help. And I'd say just like you're on the right track if you're doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But Tony doesn't cast, as far as I know.
Yeah, I thought it's like at least be like, knowing he's the only person I really know there. So but real quick, just to go along with that, I have an animation reel, but the style of course very different for anime. I didn't know if it's necessary to have an anime reel separate from animation and like video games.
I didn't.
Okay.
When I took the class, because I know the exact weekend class you're talking about, here's how I did it. I went in, I had trained myself making my own dubs for about 6 months straight, doing it every single day, and then releasing dubs on like TikTok and Instagram. That's where that whole thing came from. I wasn't trying to create an entire following or anything. It would have been a bonus, and I kind of did on TikTok a bit, but beside that point, I just trained that hard, went into the class. I kicked ass because I'd been training every day for 6 months at it. After the class was over, that was when I approached and was like, "Hey, yo, I'm new at this. I'm doing all this stuff. Like, what do you think I need to do in order to be competitive still?" And he was like, "Dude, you're competitive already. Hit up mommy. Here you go. Tell her I sent you." And I was like, "Okay." So you also want to ask the questions and maximize the value that you're getting out of any particular class that you're in. Anybody who's taken a class with me knows I'm not shy to ask for an email. I'm not shy to ask for a way to keep in touch. I'm not shy to ask for all that stuff because it's like, dude, I'm in here. I paid you money. Like I'm to open a door to a relationship. I know that, it's not always going to be this person's going to cast me now that I blew them away and took this class. Even if they tell me I'm absolutely fantastic and believe it, sometimes the timing just doesn't work out. And sometimes, but that's why I'm constantly in classes and I'm constantly doing stuff. So That helpful? Do you have any
Yeah.
follow-up question, or is that did I?
I think that was the main one. Yeah, thank you.
You're very
I
welcome.
think
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. I've been thinking about this a lot as we articulate what we're doing at the dojo and how to create this approach to the sustained successful voiceover career. You know, what we do at the dojo, this is professional training. It's not classes. It's a professional training curriculum. And the more that you're thinking like I'm in professional training, and then or something that you just said, Brent, that made me go like, right, because that's part of your business plan. That's part of your business approach of having a budget, having a business budget that is about this training and development and relationship building. So making sure that that is part of it. And the other thing that I just heard, Brent, was I trained every day for 6 months. It's that consistency, that continuity, and then connecting with community. Consistency, continuity, connecting with community, right? And then you show up and you're ready to. One of the things we've been talking about, Fabian and I were talking about this yesterday. In order to break into voiceover, you need to be able to get on the freeway going 85 miles an hour with people who've been driving the Autobahn for 25 years. Can you do it? Yes, people are breaking into voiceover every day. New voices are needed every day. Can you do it on a scooter? No. Now, if you're on this call, if you know about this call, you probably, have a little bit more than a scooter going on, or maybe you don't. But then how do you build your vehicle? How do you build your vehicle? How do you get it going? And then we were talking about, what's the difference between building a Jeep and building a Maserati, right? So those are the things. And when is that question of, is it competitive? Well, you ask the people who make the decisions, right? That's what Fight Club structure is. So who would you have called back? Who would have been on your A list, on your A pile from those auditions? Okay, now we all heard that. That was what it was, right? And people are pretty straight up on those decision makers. And then we can calibrate, right? We hear what's competitive. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful, Krista. And keep on the trail. Keep on the trail. Yeah. Let's see. Maybe a couple more. It's 11:11, maybe like 4 more minutes, if that's good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, next up we have Ethan, formerly known as Weird Studios. Ethan, go ahead and come on in and ask your question.
What's up, Ethan?
Very first ever Zoom call, knows everything about it already.
Thank you. I apologize if my mic quality is not the best. I still need to get a new microphone.
All good. I'm not here judging anybody. What's up?
That's cool.
Thank you. Okay, so my question was, what kind of advice would you like to give to beginners about like the introduction of equipment such as microphones, interfaces, soundproof padding, and also more so just understanding what career they're getting into, so the ins and outs of the beginnings of everything, sort of. That's my question.
Well, I say we have a whole introductory course called You Should Do Voiceover that's designed to do exactly that. What are all the things that are possible? What are the realities of what do you need, and how do you start thinking about it? So that's what I've that's what I would say. That's what we've done here. And otherwise just start showing up where the people are doing the things like this. This is a great place. This is a great place to start doing things. What would you say, Brent?
I would say that that's a good idea. Taking a class, I think, for me at least, that was the way that I learned best. Some people learn best by, going out, trying it and doing it. But I think that in this career specifically, feedback is absolutely necessary because we're alone most of the time. So having the feedback of people who can tell you and kind of give you advice in that way. This isn't like playing guitar where I can just play guitar by myself and I can record myself and I can listen back and be like, that doesn't quite sound exactly like the riff that I'm trying to play. You know, you can noodle around a little bit. Yes, there's noodling involved in this, but like a solid foundational set of an understanding of exactly all of this. I mean, that's going to be more of a class. I would say technology wise, listen to people who know what they're talking about. Don't go after the most expensive thing out the gate. You don't want to be the guy who doesn't know how to play tennis but bought a $10,000 racket, you know.
Yeah.
So don't put the cart before the horse. Use what you can, do what you can with what you have, until you can do what you want.
Mm.
We did a great in addition to Ask the Sensei each month, on the third Wednesday of each month, we do a thing called Get to Know VO, and we focus on a subject. But there is a great Get to Know VO from a few months ago about like sort of a primer of how to be thinking about getting a home studio set up. So maybe if you reach out to Jeffrey, he can figure out how to get you a link to that Get to Know VO. It's a good overview. So,
Okay, great. Thank you.
and then we'd love to talk with you and answer other questions. Where are you located, Ethan?
I'm located in South Africa.
Very cool.
Yes.
Excellent.
I also love to get to know everyone.
Yeah, this is good. And this is one of the benefits of the pandemic. We get to work with people around the world. So, yay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Appreciate you learning Zoom just to come on this call. That's humbling.
Yeah. And it's also good because it's so much a part of the business now that like get used to it, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, good. It's good. Cool. Well, I think we should probably wrap up questions. I feel like I don't know, I feel there's so many people here. Is there any like is it worthwhile, Jeffrey, to do any breakout room things for a little bit like we've done in the past? I think that I mean that's how we met you, darling. We met Jeffrey and Emily because they hung out in breakout rooms after, and now they're part of the team. Would that be of interest? How are you doing for time, Jeffrey? And
Yeah, let's see.
Love
We
you.
have
I'm just making shit up so you can just say no, darling. We're done with this call. But
yeah, I do have to get rolling pretty soon, but I can kind of comb through some of these questions, and if there's anybody that is something that I can answer pretty quickly, then I'll reach out via email. But yeah, I think this is a great place to call it.
So we should wrap. Okay, so we'll wrap up, and then for next month we'll think about it. We'll think about it a little bit more and see if we can do some breakout rooms because hanging out and getting to meet and know each other is really a cool and important part of this too. So we'll bring that back. But thank you, everyone. Brent, thank you for taking time out of your busy day. Jeffrey, thanks for keeping everything moving so smoothly. Ian, I keep on looking at you and saying, George Lucas is here. What the hell? Yeah.
I only wish I had his bank account.
So glad to see you. I look forward to having a chance to talk with all of you. Get on my calendar, get on the VOO calendar, Voiceover Once Over calendar, and yeah, we'll see you. We'll see you next month, if not sooner. So thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Bye. See ya.
Bye.